This call is now taking notes. This call is now being recorded.
Good evening, namaskar, and welcome to all the fellow educators. My name is Amit Bajaj, and I'm the founder and leader of Google Educator Group, GG Daily West.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Meena Baga, co-leader of GG Daily Waste.
Every classroom has diverse learners, some who struggle, some who steadily progress, and some who seem to think differently, question deeply, and learn rapidly. But here is an important question. Do we truly understand who is a gifted learner? Is giftedness only about high marks and IQ scores? Or is it about the potential, creativity, and depth of thinking? And most important question, are we equipped to identify and nurture such learners within our regular classrooms? Today's session is an important opportunity for us to reflect, unlearn certain myths, and explore how we, as an educator, can responsibly map the potentials and needs of gifted learners. Before we proceed, I request Meena ma'am to kindly give a brief introduction of today's session expert, Professor Dr. Jyoti Sharma.
Yeah, sure, sir. Professor Dr. Jyoti Sharma is a nationally respected academic and internationally recognized expert in gifted and mathematics education. She serves as Joint Director of Cluster Innovation Center in University of Delhi and is an executive member of the World Council for Gifted and Talented Children in USA. She is the only Indian and South Asian representative on its executive committee. With over 2 decades of work in mathematical creativity and gifted education, she has been a strong advocate for identifying and nurturing gifted learners in diverse contexts. Beyond her academic leadership, Professor Sharma actively contributes to teacher development and school outreach. She has conducted numerous workshops for educators on differentiated instruction, assessment for learning, curriculum design for gifted students, and innovation in STEM education, reflecting her commitment to bridging systematic gaps in equity, access, and quality. Her work aligns closely with vision of NEP 2020, promoting creativity, personalized learning, and excellence without exclusion. I now invite our session expert, Professor Dr. Jyoti ma'am, to guide us through this important and thought-provoking journey. We welcome you, ma'am. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Meena ji. Thank you, Dr. Bajaj, for giving us this opportunity to talk about a very important area where generally we all educators struggle because many a times we misunderstand who gifted children are, and sometimes these high potential learners suffer in isolation. So, let me share my screen so that we, without wasting any time, we can go ahead with it. Okay. Give me 2 minutes. Yes. So, is my screen visible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today's session is on understanding the personality traits or understanding the term gifted. Find who these gifted children are, what are their needs, and how we as teachers help them, we as school system motivate them and take them to their optimum potential. First of all, let me briefly tell you who we are. So we are a team of university professors, researchers, and our university students, undergrad students, postgraduate students, who have been actively involved in this initiative. So at Cluster Innovation Center, our team has worked very closely with the government to develop Indianized method where we can identify gifted students across India, pan, including all kind of diversities and in all kind of subjects. So the spectrum was the all subjects and the age group from 3 years to 16 years. So we worked for almost 8 years on this. And then around 2018, 2019, we submitted all the reports and the outcome of the project to the government, and which substantially helped in crafting the support for gifted education in national education policy. After that, we realized that because during this project we created lot many identification tools, mentoring programs, teacher training programs, parents counseling programs. So now we want that these resources should be shared with the stakeholders in the most effective manner. So this is our first orientation program with you, where we would like to orient you about just to sensitize. The first step is the sensitization. So sensitizing you who gifted children are and why is it very important to work for them. Why is it very important to provide them equal inclusive space in our regular classroom so that they feel acknowledged, they feel visible, and they feel welcomed. So we worked on 3 principles. So first of all, let us accept there are gifted students in our classrooms. The second is acknowledge that they have potential and these potential can surpass our expectations. And then third is accelerate. Accelerate the learning opportunities we are providing them, learning dynamics we are giving them. So this AQ principle is the basis of this presentation today. So let me start with the we say it gifted child paradox. Why this gifted child paradox? Because these children are most of the time misunderstood. And these are the case studies, which case studies or these cases I am presenting here. These case studies are real case studies. These students are very much visible in our classroom when as a teacher I go to my class. So these are real students. When we were worked with them extensively in the classrooms, so we realized that what kind of, because we didn't want to borrow any ready-made gifted education model. We wanted an organic model which come out from our own real classrooms. So you look at, so this was a grade 8 student who never scored very high in the class. So his scores were most of the time average or above average scores, very irregular and very careless in making mistakes. Most of the time make lot of systematic mistakes in school, particularly the maths curriculum, because that time we were working with mathematically gifted students. So initially we started with STEM and then we expanded this to languages and social sciences. But when we went deeply into this child, we realized that this child was very prompt in when we provided him high difficulty level problems. So you could see brightness in his eyes and lot of excitement when he came with the solutions. So the hidden reality was the errors he was making were not due to the lack of ability, but due to because we were not providing him sufficient challenge his mind was craving for. Similarly, there is this another prodigy again in our classrooms. This boy used to work, complete all the tasks with zero interest. So he never wanted to, initially it started showing lack of interest in classroom teaching, to stop participating in classroom, persistently questioning the need of going to schools, and gradually every day he used to make excuses that he didn't want to go to school. Parents discussed the matter in the school. The school counselor suggested that the child he is in depression and he should be referred to therapist. But actually, when this case was probed more deeply, we realized that he was a prodigy now who is doing doctorate in MIT. So he did his undergraduation from Stanford and then moved to MIT, now pursuing master's doctorate in uh, physics from MIT. And there was a hidden side of this boy. So when this case came to us, we we actually got deeper into the personality and the learning behavior of the child, and we realized that he is not a problem child, but he is a prodigy who is misidentified. And then gradually he came to us and he joined our students robotic team, and very slowly and gradually we worked with him, we mentored him, and he started loving learning. He used to read extensive maths and science books, very advanced level books, and now you could see the trajectory of this boy. This girl was was categorized as a very average and introvert girl in the school. uh, she would never catch attention of the teachers, neither for any activity or for any classroom responsibility. She had very few friends, and classroom participation was almost zero. She caught the eyes of the school and teachers when she scored highest rank in science and maths olympiad. And that is the time when this particular child was referred to us. And when we went deeper into this, we realized she was a math prodigy, and now she is doing exceptionally good, except fantastically good in her career. So she is pursuing higher education, and again one of the most premium institute. Now, when I see, and these are only three, but these three reflects the irony of thousands of gifted children sitting in our classrooms. But what is common in them? Their potential is hidden. Their potential is masked. Most of the time, they are misidentified. There is a huge gap what they want from the learning environment and what we provide them in classroom situations or in school environment. So there is a high mismatch between the two, and this is why they struggle all the time. And most of the time, either they withdraw from the reality, they become underachiever, they become completely introvert, they become depressed with low self-esteem. And many a times such children, if they are not challenged properly, not mentored properly, then they may become delinquent also. So what are the core attributes if we see? So this is the common thread. So they have very rapid comprehension, they have curiosity, they have complexity, and they are very self-independent in their learning. And Dr. Bajaj very correctly highlighted that creativity, determination to do a task, these are some of the domains, but these are the common threads in all the case studies here. It is very important for us to understand from our dichotomy that all children are gifted, and gifted is a very elite concept. The first is, yes, everyone has some special abilities, but those abilities, so special abilities as comparing within my ability domains, but there could be somebody who has a special ability, and that special ability is way beyond my contemporary peer group. So giftedness is not an elite concept. It is actually a factual neurological difference. So if you look at this two-dimensional graph, so you could see maybe this is their chronological age. That means as per their age, they should have been at this level, this developmental level, this gray line. But they have asynchronized development. So for that, so their intellectual age is very high and their emotional age may be little low. I am not saying it's always, but there might be a case. So asynchronized. So development, their developmental trajectory may not follow the same regular conventional path as all other children of their age are developing. Okay. So their emotional age may be little less, their physical growth may be little less, their social intelligence may be little less, but so this is a mismatch. But because here we are talking about academically gifted, so that's why I'm focusing only on the intellectual age. Then we worked with teachers extensively, and we realized there is a very common understanding that when we ask teachers to uh, give us some names or nominate a few students whom you think gifted, so most of the time it's very natural, so children who are always scoring very high, we say, fine, this might be a gifted child. But there is a very critical distinction between who is a bright child and who is a gifted child. Bright child is somebody who knows the answer, but gifted child will ask the question. We will ask questions not when in doubts. We will ask questions when we have understood what is being said and then we have doubts. Okay, bright child is interested, but gifted child is curious. Bright child is a top setter in the group, but a gifted child is beyond the group. Bright child has good ideas, but a gifted child has unusual ideas. Bright child enjoys school, but gifted child enjoys learning. Bright child is a teacher pleasure, but gifted child speaks his or her own mind. Just remember, I'm assuming that all of you must have seen the movie Three Idiots. In that movie, there was an episode where the character Amir Khan, he says, knowledge जहां पर भी मिलती है वहां से ले ली जाए. So he could sit in any class, whether this class related to his group or not. He could go to any class wherever there is some learning, some teaching is going on, because this is the curiosity and their ability to know more, their appetite or their hunger to know more and more. So in a gifted child's mind, so they comprehend information, they process information at very advanced speed. They have a very large memory base and very quick recall. They need less repetition, so they master concepts very fast. They go into very deep processing, so very advanced analytical skills. And they can connect threads of knowledge in a very unusual way. Generally, we say they think out of the box or they are very creative. That means they can connect the threads of knowledge they acquire in a very different and in unrelated domains. There are certain very important myths, and these myths are so deep rooted that it has layers and layers, So let's talk about some very common myths about gifted students. So the one myth is, since they are gifted, they will do on their own. because they are gifted, so they can manage everything on their own. So, but in reality, they need lot of support. They need academic support, they need emotional support, they need social support. Okay, and without support, these children, these students are prone to become underachievers, and sometimes they drop out. They drop out not because they cannot meet the pace of the learning, but because boredom. They feel intellectually stagnate. So so they need lot of hand holding from our side. The the another myth is gifted education is an elite concept, and it says, fine, if you provide best of the resources to learners, everybody can be gifted. No, they can be bright, they can be high achievers, but they may not be gifted. So the myth that gifted children exist only in elite schools or in elite education environment, so this is a myth. Gifted children exist in every demographic and socioeconomic background. So ignoring it in public education increases the gap. And this is a complete myth that only wealthy families or rich schools or elite schools can afford outside enrichment if schools don't provide it. So it is important that we within the school we provide provisions. We'll talk about that. Uh, Generally, because gifted, they are gifted, so they are star kids. So they are very happy and popular. And the truth is, because they are highly intelligent, they think so differently, they are outliers, they often feel socially isolated. Sometimes they feel, and sometimes they are forced because they are labeled nerds, misfits. They have high emotional intensity. So most of the time, many a times, the the regular students bully them because they think so differently. Their answers are different. They think faster. So they are they are deliberately debarred from the peer group because they do not match the peer group compatibility. So why these students struggle in regular classrooms? So boredom, as I told you, because they don't like repetition, they don't like rote learning, they don't like the curriculum. Just imagine, because generally because the regular the school, our education system, and everywhere globally, in fact, the regular education system works like this, that you have one academic year to complete a defined syllabus. So that syllabus is predefined, and there is one full academic year to complete that syllabus. Teachers do lot of planning and spread out the syllabus for the entire academic year. But now, this gifted child who is very fast in learning, he or she is capable of completing that syllabus in 2 months. But what we want that it should be stretched for one academic year, because teachers have a lot of responsibilities. So they can't just think about this one or two children in the class. So they have entire class, and so they focus on that. So now what is happening? So this child is able to finish the syllabus in 2 months. So now there are 10 months. What is he going to do? This child may repeat whatever is being done in the class. He or she will feel isolated, neglected, and many times they feel that this classroom does not belong to them. So these 10 months becomes, these additional 10 months becomes a punishment for them. Now what happens? Many times teacher says that yes, we try to accommodate them. So we give them more challenging problems, or we ask them to do whatever they want to do. We give them freedom to go to library and do something. We give them freedom to join any school club. No, they come here for learning. They crave for higher education. They crave for higher learning. So it is important that we should have strategies how to make them involved in the class. Stagnation. They feel that their mind is stagnated because mind is not getting enough nourishment what their mind is looking for. And definitely when uh, 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 they don't have peers who can run at the same pace, their pace, so they cannot relate themselves with their the class peer group. So unchallenged learning environment leads to boredom and frustration, and many a times it leads to disruptive behaviors. So if their learning demands are not stimulated properly, it may, this could be first stage, but this could be the next stage. Now, then there is a trap which we call underachievement trap. Now, in this underachievement trap, basically, so here are because they are gifted, and we uh, we identify them and we tell the parents, okay, your child is gifted. Teachers get very excited, school gets very excited, parents gets very excited, and now there is lot of external expectations. So this pressure of expectation is very high, and the child's mind actually becomes like a pressure cooker. But these are internal directions and motivations. uh, we all know the story of Indian star boy Ramanujan, mathematician Ramanujan. And we all know that he was a prodigy in maths. We all know that his internal motivation was only doing maths and maths and maths. He flunked in English, could not get admission in college. It was not that he was not capable of passing English exam, but his internal motivation was only towards maths. But nowadays, parents are educated, schools are a place of very tough competition. So there are, and definitely career choices are difficult and complex and highly competitive. So there is lot of external expectations and pressures on these children. So, and with this, generally what happens, they become underachiever. When they lose the direction or compass of their internal direction, they become underachiever and they lose interest in their studies. There is a huge cognitive divide, as I told you. So most of the time they are lone runner in their cognitive processing speed. So though they are in a class, they are sitting in a group of 40, 50 children. So they belong to a peer group. But within that group, they are completely lonely. This is and again, uh, uh, this is again a challenge for these students because they think out of the box. They think so differently. Most of the time, their answers are prone to criticism. Their responses are not accepted, many times not accepted by teachers, and definitely peer group laugh at them. I have given this example many a times, that in first grade class, the teacher asked a very simple question: what is the color of an apple? Majority students, children said red, some said yellow, a few said green, but one girl, she said white. The teacher was irritated and asked the girl, have you seen the apple? The girl said, yes, I have seen the apple, but have you seen it from inside? See the level of response here. She identified the color of the apple, which is unique. So the outer color may be different. So if I want one correct answer, so as we say in mathematics, you need to abstract the most common property, the most common color. Among all types of outer color apples, the most common color is when you abstract, is white. And she was a 5-year-old girl. So their responses are so different, so unique, so out of the box. Many a times we as teachers even can't reach to that level. So because we are so conditioned to give answers or to accept answers in a uniform format, in uniform mode. So these responses become part of criticism, and we force them to do corrections. So gradually these children start developing a self-doubt. Self-doubt that why my answer is always wrong. Because when 39 students, my 39 classmates are giving one answer, so why my answer is so different? So there must be some problem in my thinking. So it leads to rejection, it leads to self-doubt, and it leads to low self-esteem. Gifted children are most of the time, they have very intense emotional intensity, very heightened emotional intensity. So when this emotional intensity is not cared sensitively, empathetically, it reaches to heightened sensitivity, and it can lead to depression risk. And that's why many a times these students, these learners develop depression risk and many psychological challenges if their needs, if their intellectual hunger, intellectual nourishment is not met properly. This I've already talked about. Now there is another paradox. They are perfectionist. They always want to draw tough lines for themselves because they think at a very deeper level. They don't process information only at surface level. They process information very deeply, very reflectively, very critically, analytically. They are prone to, they always want to be perfectionist. And it is a paradox because they never reach to the final end of the perfection, because as they come up with the first draft, They want more perfect, more perfect, more perfect, because they are never satisfied, because one solution is there. Oh, how it can be improved further, how it can be improved further, how it can be improved further. And so gradually, if they are not handled, if a teacher is not able to handhold them at that point, bringing them to the reality, what will happen? They will set very impossible standards and targets for themselves. And when they are not able to meet those unrealistic goals, they develop a very distorted self-image that I cannot do anything. So this paradox becomes a barrier for them. So instead of capitalizing, optimizing what abilities and potentials they have, they develop an illusion that they cannot do anything in a good way, in an effective way. So uh, this is again a very important point to reflect upon: defense mechanism. Because many a times, as I told you, because their responses, their process speed, so they are really fast, so many a times peer group rejects them. And just to be accepted in the peer group happily, accepted by teachers that their responses are not too vague, they stop asking questions. They stop raising their curiosity. They started giving those responses which are more accepted in the peer group. So, what happens? They start hiding their inner personality, and they start trying to behave in a way which is more accepted in the classroom and in an average or regular school environment. So these multiply factors lead to lot of complexity in their personality. So imagine a child who has immense potential because of the systemic failures or limitations or ignorance. The child is gradually, forcefully, either becoming an underachiever or becoming a delinquent or becoming a problem child or becoming a depressed conflict personality. So you could see this could be the profile. So when we try to profile them, profile their struggles, so it's not always too rosy or good to be gifted. They feel it as a burden. They feel that it is something which could have been avoided. They try to hide this as much as possible. And a continuous self-doubt lead to very conflicted, unsatisfied personalities, which will trouble them in future. If we go by numbers, so this isolated population, I always call them the most neglected group, this isolated population, if you look at them, so uh, generally, because they are at the higher end of the ability spectrum. So this is the lowest. So from here lower to the highest. So they are at the highest end of the spectrum. Statistically, what the research says, 30 to 15% children are potentially gifted. So they can form a good talent pool. 3 to 5% are significantly gifted. this is basically they are actually on the margin. So if not, if they're not handhold properly, they can to the average group, but this is basically significantly gifted. So it is not easy to avoid them in the class. So if this group is not catered properly, they become very disruptive or depressed. And this exceptionally gifted students, children, this is a very less percentage. They are the most difficult to identify and very easily misunderstood. So now look at this. This is another category basically. Within gifted, it is a very, very heterogeneous group. So here we talk about, so these are twice exceptional. Now twice exceptional is basically they have some kind of disability also. So in Tare Zameen Par, if you say the movie, so it was a twice exceptional case. In this twice exceptional case, here you have the so disability becomes very prominent and the gift goes under the carpet. So when the child is in the class, our focus is more on the disability. So we identify disability first. So the child becomes a child with different ability. But the gifts the child possesses, generally they are ignored. So the gifts get under the carpet and the child becomes a disabled child. So now, so what are the possible solution to this problem? The possible solutions are we need curriculum modifications. The teachers play a very, very important role. School environment is very important, so we need interventions at school level. We need enhancing expanding the capacity of teachers, and we need the curriculum modifications. In addition to this, parents also play a very, very important role. So so it's important that we empower teachers where they can identify them in the classrooms, where they can differentiate their learning. So we are not talking about a special school for these students. We are talking about an inclusive learning environment for them. And within that inclusive learning environment, there are multiple strategies which we can easily adopt with a very little flexible approach. So we can think about differentiations, we can think about evidence-based practices, and we can think about a feedback mechanism where autonomy to these students can help them to accelerated progress in their learning trajectories. Role of parents is very important. The one is they need to be really observant. They need to modify their parenting skills. They need to be very patient, and they need to provide right guidance to them. Okay, so for example, when a family has a differently able child, maybe the child has some kind of disability, the school and the parents all become very guarded, very alert, very responsible. Okay, because my child or this child is special, so the child needs extra care. Same goes for a gifted child also. This child is equally special. And as we have seen, not everything is rosy with this child. If not handled with care, this child will have a lot of problems. So if you have a gifted child in your classroom, if you have a gifted child in your school, if you have a gifted child at your home, then again you need to be ready to walk an extra mile for this child. I always say, giftedness is not a trophy to showcase. It is a responsibility. It is a responsibility to be, for which we need to be very diligent. We need to be very careful. So let me briefly talk about uh, how we can support you and why this orientation program, because we just wanted to introduce ourselves to you. As I told you that we have worked in this field at national level, the pan India, for almost 8 years. And during that experience, we developed very organic, context-based identification tool batteries, mentoring programs, teacher capacity programs, and parents counseling programs. So now we would like to open this gifted resource center, because that time we developed gifted resource lab because we were doing research and developing all our resources and trying and validating them. Now we would like to open this gifted resource center to the entire community of educators. So we would like to help schools. That includes school heads, creating an ecosystem where there are resources, there are opportunities, there are policy provisions to mentor, nurture gifted children in a very, very emotionally safe and valued environment. Uh, so we have these programs. We can teachers can become our research partners also, so that we can grow this field together and they become co-creator in this field. We would like to have ample of parenting strategies that can be shared with parents, for parents of gifted children. And these programs can be organized within schools. We can have online programs, we can have in-person programs. We have small programs, maybe it's like a 3-day program or 5 days program for teachers capacity building. And we have certificate level program, which is a 6 months program, which will be uh, which is uh, what I should say, which is acknowledged by Delhi University. So this certificate program will be vetted by so you'll get a certificate from Delhi University as a certified certificate in gifted education. Fine. So we have these programs. We have plenty of resources. We cater from 3 years to 16, 17 years. We can help you to develop identification protocols for your schools. We can help to develop uh, resource centers or resource labs, resource rooms for gifted students in your schools. Uh, we can help you in assessment strategy. So whatever we have learned, developed, and created in those 8 years, which is basically a knowledge base for the nation, to the nation. So now we want that all stakeholders should be benefited from this. We have this developmental identification and mentoring program, which we started. So this model actually we developed during this, and this is a very effective model. If some school wants, so they can actually design their academic calendar for gifted students on this line. We do have identification toolkits. So we have a battery of identification tools. We help teachers and schools to develop mentoring program within their schools, and accelerated mentoring programs can be run at university or maybe other higher education institutes who can co-partner in this. So we do have some institutes and labs, the senior labs, where these gifted students can be engaged. So we can think about summer programs, we can think about weekend programs, we can think about block programs, we can think about residential programs. We have done mentoring programs in all these format, what I'm sharing with you. So now it is high time that let us capture. So the statistics, the number 13% to 0.1%. India has a school going population of around 25 crores, more than 25 crores. So just imagine the number. Even if we are talking about exceptionally gifted, which is 1% or less than 1%, look at the volume we are talking about. So let us take small step. Let us think of 13% or 15% window. So these are children with high potential. Let us capture them. So once we capture them, once we create a rich learning environment, these children will benefit and others children will also benefit. So basically the entire learning culture will change. The entire learning ecosystem will be charged. So okay, yes, I'm just quickly moving to the final slides. So the one thing is identifying gifted children, teaching them, educating them, mentoring them, nurturing them, whatever terminology we use, it is a process. It is not the end result. It requires systemic changes. So it requires change at school level. It requires change in teachers' abilities. It requires change in the home culture. Okay, so it is important that we identify these hidden gems in our classroom and make them the very productive, very effective, and very dynamic citizens of tomorrow. So I'll just take a break now, because let's take some questions or some observations. But meanwhile, let me introduce you to my team. So we are, as I told you, we are a team at Cluster Innovation Center. So now we are working. So this team consists of our PhD scholars and very dynamic, energetic, and enthusiastic our masters and undergrad students from BTech, Mathematics and Innovation, IT and Mathematical Innovation, B Honors Humanities and Social Science, and MSc Mathematics Education, and including our PhD research scholars. So we are a very enthusiastic, energetic, highly motivated team at the university. We are here to help you in taking this mission to a success. So now Dr. Amit, I'll stop my presentation here, and let's think about ask some questions if we have.
Monica Thakur ma'am has one question being asked. She has asked one question. Do we have any test which can be taken by the students so as to identify gifted child other than the observations you are talking about?
We do have many tools, so we can't. The one thing is it's not easy to say if one test can help you to identify. It can give you some indicators, and through those indicators we can actually move to the next point. So we can't say that we have one magnet which can attract them. So you need to have a collective effort. So generally what we do, we go in layers. So first maybe a generic test, which can be a domain specific test, and then there can be some learning domain inventories. With that, we start giving them, then it becomes the context specific mentoring program. During that, we identify them. So mentoring and identification will go hand in hand after first layer.
Very right, ma'am. Avanti Dioji asked, I had a gifted child once who succeeded a lot, but his brother, who was also intelligent, was subjected to have the same high standard as his elder brother. How to deal with such situation? In fact, I think there are 15 or 20 more questions being asked. So it is not possible to take up all the questions because you have a PhD scholars, they already have shared the various links. So they can be connected with you definitely, and
Yeah.
then ask those questions. In fact, because time is actually running out of our time. So,
Sir, let
frankly,
me interfere. Rupal
yeah,
ma'am
yeah,
has shared a group of Gifted India initiative. If any
yes,
teacher wants to join.
Yes. Yes, Rupal is right. We have created a gifted education network. So all those teachers and educators, school heads, parents who want to join this group, so they can actually scan the code, or they can join through that link. Very soon we are going to have second orientation program. The second orientation program will be more focused on strategies. Fine. And maybe probably because we are developing our calendar for the year, so will be conducting some in-person capacity building programs for the teachers. So in that,
okay,
we may not be able to accommodate lot many numbers, but we'll have small groups. Then schools probably can take this initiative. So if some school wants to develop this, can take up this program in their school, so then there'll be a 360-degree mentoring support for the school. So that can be also done. So we have many channels through which we can move forward. But first of all, the first point is that they need to join the group so that we can share information.
yeah, very rightly said, ma'am. Okay, one question, in fact, that is coming to my mind also, Dr. Sumen rightly, I mean, just now asked, what are the digital tools effective to identify diverse level of students? Would you like to answer it right now, or maybe after joining the WhatsApp group, there can be a lot of discussions?
No, I'll briefly talk about this. So see, digital tools, there are intelligence tests uh, which can be taken online. There is Mensa IQ test, which can be taken by anyone by joining this link. So, but there's this Mensa India Society also, but Mensa tribal group also. So there are a certain intelligence test, but it's not easy to take a creativity test through digital tools. So that's, as I told you. So gifted personality is a construct, and it has many variables. So no single test will suffice, but definitely there are digital, not tools, but yes, there are some digital identification benchmarks which can be taken.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, well, some of the educators are saying they are not able to join the WhatsApp group, or they are not able to click on the links. See, if you have actually sent us, I mean, registered members, so definitely we'll be sending you the links and all the things on your email ID using which you have registered with us. So no worries about that. And regarding the participation certificate, once we have the formal vote of thanks with ma'am, we'll definitely talk about that. Yeah, links are rightly working, but the only thing is, if you are using your mobile phone, the links may not work. So if you are using your laptop, definitely the links are working. So this is just a formal word of thanks. And in fact, this is just a beginning. As ma'am has already rightly said, it is just the basic idea about the giftedness, the gifted children, and she will be talking and taking this to a further heights. So as we conclude today's enriching session, one powerful realization stands out. Giftedness is not merely about excellence, it's about potential that demands intentional nurturing. A gifted child may not always be a topper, but may be the one who questions deeply, thinks differently, or feels intensely. Identifying and supporting such learners is not a luxury, it is our educational responsibility. If there is one key takeaway from today, it is this. Beginning Monday morning, let us observe more carefully, question more thoughtfully, and design learning experiences that allow space for depth, curiosity, and meaningful challenge. On behalf of everyone present, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Dr. Jyoti Sharma ma'am for sharing her valuable insight, clarity, and direction with us. Your guidance has truly enriched our understanding. Thank you to all the participants for your active engagement. Let us carry this dialogue forward and remain committed to nurturing the unique potential of every child. Thank you once again. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Dr. Amit, for providing this opportunity and this platform. Thank you, GEC. So, and we'll continue on this mission
Yeah,
till we
sure.
succeed
Thank
Definitely,
you.
ma'am.
passing
Thank
to
you
it.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Uh, I'm just give me 1 second.